The silver spacecraft drifted silently through the void, its gleaming hull reflecting the distant stars. Inside the observation deck of the Defiance *, Adam Clark stood with his hands clasped behind his back, watching the approaching alien vessel. It moved with strange grace, unlike any human-made craft. "Sir, they're requesting permission to dock," said Lieutenant Lisa Morris. Her fingers hovered over the control panel, waiting for his command. Adam took a deep breath. As humanity's chosen ambassador, this moment would define his life. Perhaps all human life. Grant them access to Docking Bay 3. Alert security teams but keep weapons concealed. We show respect first. Yes, sir. Lisa's voice betrayed her nervousness despite her professional demeanor. The alien ship, with its organic curves and pulsing lights, eased into position alongside the Defiance *. Adam felt the slight vibration as the docking mechanisms engage. History was happening around him. Humanity's first official contact with an extraterrestrial intelligence. Ambassador Clark to Docking Bay 3, came the announcement over the ship's comm system. Adam straightened his dark blue uniform and nodded to Lisa. "Let's meet our visitors." They walked in silence through the corridors of Earth's first true interstellar vessel. Built with technology that had seemed impossible just a decade ago, the Defiance represented humanity's greatest achievement, the ability to reach beyond their solar system. The docking bay doors slid open. Adam's heart pounded as 6 tall figures emerged from the connecting tunnel. The aliens moved with fluid grace, their bodies thin and elongated. Their skin shimmered with colors that seemed to flow beneath the surface. They had no visible mouths, but their large, multifaceted eyes studied the humans with clear intelligence. "Welcome aboard the Defiance *, Adam said, stepping forward. "I am Ambassador Adam Clark, representing the United Earth government." The tallest alien inclined its head. A small device at its throat glowed, and a perfectly human voice emerged. "I am Herald of the Vorzine. We speak for the Galactic Conclave." "The Galactic Conclave," Adam repeated, maintaining his diplomatic composure despite his surprise. "A coalition of civilizations that maintains order among the stars," Herald explained. "We have come to formally recognize humanity's emergence into interstellar space." Adam gestured toward a doorway. "Please, join us in our conference room, where we can speak more comfortably." The aliens followed him through the ship. Crew members stopped and stared as the procession passed. Some looked curious, others fearful. Adam led them into a large room with a circular table and views of space through wide windows. Once seated, Harold placed a small crystal device on the table. It projected a holographic map of the galaxy, with thousands of tiny lights representing stars. "The conclave spans this region," Harold said, as a large section of the map illuminated. "Your solar system exists here at the outer edge." A small blue dot flashed. "We had no idea there were so many," Lisa whispered. "Advanced civilizations. Yes, you are not alone, but you are unusual." Harold's voice remained neutral, but something in the alien's posture changed. "The Conclave has protocols for emerging species. We are here to explain them." Adam leaned forward. "We're eager to learn." "All new species must be properly integrated," Harold continued. "This requires certain adjustments. Military development must cease. Key resources must be shared. A supervisory presence must be established on your homeworld." Adam felt a chill despite the room's comfortable temperature. "That sounds less like diplomatic relations and more like—" "It is standard protocol," Harold interrupted. "Non-negotiable. All new species must be contained for the safety of the galactic community." "Contained?" Lisa asked, her voice sharper. Harold's skin rippled with dark colors. Perhaps a poor translation. Guided. Protected. The alternative would be unfortunate. Adam met the alien's many-faceted eyes. "Are you threatening humanity, Harold?" "I am informing you of reality," Harold replied. The conclave has existed for 50,000 of your years. Species that cannot adapt to our structure do not survive. The room fell silent. Through the windows, distant stars twinkled innocently. Adam realized they were no longer just points of light. They were watching, waiting, and possibly trembling. The hidden research facility beneath the Rocky Mountains hummed with activity. 3 months had passed since the Vorzine delegation delivered their ultimatum to humanity. On the surface, Earth's governments had appeared to accept the conclave's terms, but underground, different plans were taking shape. Dr. Olivia Grant hunched over her workstation, eyes fixed on the strange device recovered from a crashed Vorzine scout ship. The small metallic object pulsed with faint light, its inner workings unlike any human technology. Her team had worked day and night to understand its purpose. "I think I've got it," she said, mostly to herself. The lab fell quiet as the other scientists turned to look at her. "This isn't what they told us it was." General John Bailey stood in the corner, arms crossed. His weathered face showed the strain of recent weeks. "Explain." Olivia pressed several keys, and a holographic display appeared above the device. The Vorzine called this a cultural integration module. They said it would help humans adapt to galactic standards. She pointed to the complex energy patterns swirling in the display. "But these emissions don't affect cultural understanding or language processing. They target neural development." "What does that mean in plain English, Doctor?" the general asked. "It means they're lying to us," Olivia said, standing up. "This device doesn't help integration. It suppresses brain function, specifically areas related to innovation and creativity. They're not helping us join their community. They're making sure we can never threaten them." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. A young scientist named Eric Daniels spoke up from his station across the room. "I found something too." He tapped his screen, sending data to the main display. "I managed to decrypt more of their files. Look at this." The screen filled with images of different alien species, along with graphs and data in the Vorzine language that their computers had partially translated. "These are records of other species," Eric explained. "Species that showed unusual rates of technological advancement." He scrolled through the files. "None of these civilizations exist anymore, at least not as independent entities." "They've done this before," Olivia said, her voice hardening. "Species with potential get limited, controlled, or—" She paused, looking at a particularly disturbing set of images showing a planet's surface being systematically sterilized. "Or exterminated," General Bailey finished for her. Olivia nodded. "The conclave isn't about cooperation. It's about control. And humans are apparently very concerning to them." "Why?" asked Diane Powell, another scientist. "We're not particularly strong or long-lived compared to the Vorzine." "It's our minds," Eric said, pointing to a comparison chart. "Look at these adaptation and learning curves. Human neural plasticity is off their charts. Our rate of technological development frightens them." General Bailey moved to the center of the room. "So they offer us a choice that isn't really a choice at all. Join them and be mentally hobbled, or resist and be destroyed." "That's the situation," Olivia confirmed. "But there's something else." She pulled up another file. "These are scans from their ship's database. The conclave isn't unified on this approach. There are factions, disagreements about how to handle species like ours." "Can we exploit that?" the general asked. "Maybe," Olivia said, "but we need time, and we need to understand their technology better than they think we can." She picked up the neural suppression device. "They underestimate us. That might be our only advantage." General Bailey nodded slowly. "I'll inform the president. In the meantime, push harder on reverse engineering everything we have. If they're this afraid of what humans might become, let's show them they were right to be afraid." Outside the underground facility, snow fell gently on the mountains. No one looking at the peaceful scene would guess that beneath it, Humanity was planning its desperate bid for survival against a threat from beyond the stars. The massive asteroid spun slowly in the darkness between Mars and Jupiter. From the outside, it looked like any other space rock. Inside, it was a hive of human activity. Workers in spacesuits moved along tunnels carved deep into the stone. Machines hummed and sparked as they built weapons never before seen by human eyes. In the center of this hidden base, Project Director Kevin Russell studied the holographic displays floating in front of him. 6 months had passed since the discovery of the Conclave's true intentions. During that time, Earth had put on a good show of compliance while secretly preparing for war. "Status report," Kevin said, his voice tired but determined. His assistant, Maya Jenkins, swiped through several screens on her tablet. "The first batch of gravity disruptors is complete. Shield technology is at 85% efficiency, better than we hoped. The AI targeting systems are exceeding all benchmarks." Kevin nodded. "And the fleet?" "The automated factories in the outer belt have completed 27 vessels. They're smaller than the Conclave ships, but faster and with better stealth systems." A door slid open behind them, and President Alan Howard entered the command center. Everyone stood straighter, despite their exhaustion. The president had aged years in the past months, the weight of humanity's survival heavy on his shoulders. "Mr. President," Kevin greeted him, "welcome to Olympus Base." President Howard looked around at the bustling command center. "When I approved this project, I wasn't sure it was possible. Building all this in secret, while making the Vorzine think we're rolling over for them." He shook his head in wonder. "It's been challenging," Kevin admitted, "but nothing motivates scientists and engineers like an extinction threat." The president walked to the large viewing window that looked out over the largest chamber in the asteroid. Below, robots assembled parts for weapons designed to fight beings from the stars. Human supervisors checked their work, making adjustments where needed. "The Prometheus Initiative is the greatest scientific undertaking in human history," Kevin said, standing beside the president. "We've made advances in 6 months that would normally take decades. Will it be enough?" President Howard asked quietly. Kevin hesitated. "I don't know. The Conclave has thousands of years of technological development on us, but they don't expect us to fight back. Not like this." On another level of the base, Commander Beth Winters prepared for her next meeting with the Vorzine representatives. As the head of Earth's diplomatic mission, her job was perhaps the most dangerous, pretending to cooperate while gathering intelligence. "Your heart rate needs to be steady," Dr. Frank Morgan reminded her as he attached small sensors to her temples. "The Vorzine can detect physiological signs of deception." Beth took deep breaths, calming herself. "I know the drill, Doc. I've been lying to aliens for months now." She tried to smile, but it didn't reach her eyes. "You're buying us time," Frank said gently. "Without you, we'd already be at war, a war we couldn't win." Beth nodded. "The Conclave representatives are getting suspicious. They expected the neural suppression technology to make us more compliant by now." She glanced at the small device on Frank's desk, a perfect replica of the Vorzine technology, modified to give false readings rather than affect human minds. "Just 2 more weeks," Frank assured her. "That's all Kevin needs to finish the fleet." In the depths of space, Vorzine ships patrolled the edges of the solar system, their crews confident in their superiority. They did not notice the small, stealthy probes watching them, learning their weaknesses, sending data back to the hidden asteroid base. Humanity prepared in secret, united as never before. Old enemies worked side by side. Countries shared their most guarded technological secrets, and every available resource was directed toward one goal: survival. The stars might belong to the Conclave, but humans would not go quietly into extinction. The emergency alarm blared throughout Olympus Base, its harsh sound cutting through the normal hum of machinery. Kevin Russell raced to the command center, his heart pounding. Something had gone very wrong. The main screen flickered to life as he entered, showing Commander Beth Winters. Her face was drawn and pale, her eyes wide with fear. She wasn't on her diplomatic vessel where she should have been. The background showed the interior of an escape pod. "Beth, what happened?" Kevin asked, gripping the edge of the console. "They know," she said, her voice coming through the quantum communicator with perfect clarity despite the vast distance. "The Vorzine discovered our deception. I barely got out alive." President Howard entered the room, followed by General Bailey. "Report, Commander," the President ordered. Beth took a shaky breath. "I was in a restricted area of their command ship. I found proof of what they're really planning." She tapped controls on her end, sending data to them. "They're going to sterilize Earth. The compliance procedures aren't temporary. They're preparing for a controlled extinction event." Images appeared on the screen beside her face. Alien text and diagrams showing weapon systems pointed at Earth. "Are you certain?" General Bailey demanded. Beth nodded grimly. "They've designated us as evolutionary anomalies. Too dangerous to incorporate, too unpredictable to allow continued development. The Vorzine representative called us a contaminant in the galactic ecosystem." President Howard's face hardened. "When?" "Soon. I saw their fleet mobilizing. Hundreds of vessels." Beth looked over her shoulder nervously. "I don't think I was followed, but they'll figure out where I went eventually." Kevin pulled up the long-range sensor data. Sure enough, the Vorzine ships that had been stationed at the edge of the solar system were now moving inward, toward Earth. Their formation was clearly offensive. "They betrayed their own terms," General Bailey said, his voice low with anger. "We were buying time by pretending to comply, and they were just waiting for the right moment to wipe us out." President Howard stood silent for a long moment, the weight of humanity's future heavy on his shoulders. Everyone in the command center waited, barely breathing. "How ready are we?" he finally asked Kevin. 86% of planned systems are operational," Kevin replied. "We needed another 2 weeks for optimum readiness, but," he shrugged, "we fight with what we have." The President walked to the main view screen, looking at the approaching Conclave fleet. These weren't just Vorzine ships now. Other Conclave species had joined the Armada. Hundreds of vessels, each carrying weapons that could crack Earth open like an egg. "They expect us to be helpless," he said quietly. "They think we've been using this time to plead our case, not to prepare for war." Beth's voice came through the speakers again. "Mr. President, I'm sorry. I failed to." "You did exactly what we needed, Commander." President Howard cut her off. "Get to the rendezvous point. We'll need every trained officer for what comes next." He turned to General Bailey. "How quickly can we deploy the fleet?" "The automated systems are ready to launch on your command. Human crews can board from the Mars outpost within 6 hours." The President nodded slowly, then squared his shoulders. "Send the coded alert to all Earth governments. Tell them to activate the planetary shield network." He paused, looking around at the faces of humanity's best minds and bravest leaders. "Initiate Operation Lazarus," he ordered. "God help us all." Throughout the asteroid belt, hidden doors slid open on dozens of seemingly innocent chunks of rock. Small, sleek ships emerged, their hulls designed to absorb rather than reflect light. On Mars, crews rushed to transport vessels. On Earth, people looked up at the sky, unaware that their world stood on the brink of either destruction or a new era. The Conclave had made a fatal error. They had judged humanity by their own standards, never imagining how dangerous a cornered species could be. The Conclave fleet moved through the solar system with supreme confidence. Their ships, massive constructions of advanced metals and energy fields, dwarfed anything humans had built. The fleet commander, a Vorzine elder named Dominant Thinker, watched the tactical display with satisfaction. The primitive humans would soon be eliminated, their troublesome potential erased from the galaxy. "No defense activity detected," reported a sensor officer. "Earth appears unaware of our approach." "As expected," Dominant Thinker replied. "Their neural suppression should have reduced their capacity for coordinated resistance. Prepare sterilization protocols." The fleet passed Neptune's orbit, then Uranus. As they approached Saturn, A junior officer noticed something strange on the sensors. Dominant, I'm detecting unusual energy readings in the asteroid belt. Specify, Dominant Thinker demanded. Before the officer could answer, alarms blared across the command deck. The space around them seemed to warp and twist. Gravity itself pulled in impossible directions, throwing crew members against walls and ceilings. "We're under attack," shouted the weapons officer. From seemingly empty space, energy beams lanced out, cutting through the shields of 3 conclave vessels. The ships exploded into bright fireballs, quickly extinguished in the vacuum of space. Admiral Paul Mitchell watched from the command center of the Defiance Asterisk, now revealed as humanity's flagship. The stealth platforms had worked perfectly, hiding themselves by bending light and other radiation around their hulls until the moment of attack. "Gravity disruptors performing better than expected," reported his tactical officer, a young woman named Grace Henderson. "Their shields can't compensate for the spatial distortions." Paul nodded, his face grim. "Deploy the second wave." From Mars orbit, thousands of small drones launched toward the confused conclave fleet. Each drone was barely larger than a human hand, but together they formed a swarm guided by adaptive artificial intelligence systems. The conclave ships fired their weapons, beams of energy that could boil away Earth's oceans, but the tiny drones dodged with impossible speed, learning from each near miss, becoming harder to hit. "Impossible," Dominant Thinker whispered as the swarm surrounded his lead ships. The drones attached themselves to hull plates, drilling through with diamond-tipped nanobots, then injecting specialized viruses into the ship's computer systems. One by one, conclave vessels lost power, their weapons and engines disabled by code that evolved faster than their security systems could respond. In the asteroid belt, hidden human ships emerged from their concealment. These vessels, though small by conclave standards, moved with incredible speed, firing weapons reverse-engineered from the very technology the aliens had brought to subjugate humanity. "They've adapted our phase cannon design," a conclave engineer reported in disbelief. "But the power output is 30% higher than our models. That should be impossible." Paul Mitchell stood on the bridge of the Defiance Asterisk, watching as humanity's desperate gambit unfolded. The conclave had thousands of years of technological development, but they had grown complacent. Innovation had slowed as their civilization aged. Humans, in contrast, had compressed centuries of advancement into months, driven by the ultimate motivation: survival. "Their formation is breaking," Grace reported. They didn't expect resistance on this scale. The conclave fleet, which had arrived so confident, now found itself fighting for survival. Ships tried to retreat, only to discover that human vessels had positioned themselves to cut off their escape routes. "We're not just surviving," Paul said quietly. "We're winning." On the main conclave command ship, Dominant Thinker watched in horror as his fleet was systematically dismantled by a species that should have been helpless before them. "How?" he demanded of no one in particular. "How could they advance so quickly? How could they hide all this?" No one answered. The conclave had made a fatal error in their calculations. They had judged humanity by their own standards, methodical, cautious, and bound by tradition. They had never faced a species so adaptable, so innovative when faced with extinction. As the battle continued, stars seemed to look down on the spectacle with cold light. Perhaps in their ancient silence, they trembled. The battle lasted less than 6 hours. What remained of the once proud conclave fleet drifted in the cold vastness of space between Earth and Mars. Wreckage sparkled in the sunlight, turning slowly in silent testimony to humanity's unexpected victory. Only one major conclave vessel remained intact, the command ship, now disabled but not destroyed. Its weapons were offline, its engines dead, but life support still functioned within its massive hull. Admiral Paul Mitchell stood on the bridge of the Defiance Asterisk, studying the tactical display. His uniform was wrinkled, his eyes red from lack of sleep, but a sense of grim satisfaction showed on his face. "Confirm status of the Conclave flagship," he ordered. Lieutenant Grace Henderson checked her readings. No power to offensive systems. Their shields are down. Life signs indicate approximately 2,000 crew members still alive. Paul nodded slowly. "Prepare a boarding party. Captain Samantha Wright will lead." 20 minutes later, Samantha stood in the Defiance's launch bay, with 30 soldiers in space combat armor. Each carried weapons designed specifically for this moment, non-lethal but effective against the various species that made up the Conclave leadership. "Remember," Samantha told her team, "this isn't about revenge. We have a message to deliver." Their shuttle approached the massive alien ship, looking tiny against its bulk. The Conclave vessel's docking bay opened without resistance. They had no choice with their systems compromised by human AI viruses. The boarding party moved through the alien corridors with practiced precision. They encountered little resistance. Most of the crew seemed shocked, unable to process their defeat at the hands of what they had considered a primitive species. In the main command center, Samantha found what she was looking for. The Conclave Leadership Council. 7 aliens of different species sat around a large table, their postures conveying what human body language experts identified as defeat and fear. "I am Captain Samantha Wright of Earth," she announced as her team secured the room. "We are not here to destroy you. We are here to deliver a message." The dominant thinker, his iridescent skin now dull with stress, rose from his seat. "You have violated all protocols of civilization," he said, his translator converting his sounds to human speech. "The Conclave will not." "The Conclave will listen," Samantha interrupted. "For thousands of years, you've decided which species live, which are controlled, and which are erased. That ends today." She nodded to a technical specialist, who connected a device to the Conclave's communication system. "This message will be broadcast to every world in your coalition, using your own communication network. On thousands of planets across the galaxy, beings of countless forms suddenly found their communication systems activated without their control. Screens and holographic displays showed the image of President Alan Howard, standing before a simple blue background with Earth visible behind him. "I speak to the galaxy as the representative of humanity," his recorded message began. "Today, forces from the Galactic Conclave attempted to exterminate our species without provocation. They failed." The president's voice was calm but firm. "Humanity has no interest in conquest or domination. We wish only to develop in peace, to explore the stars, and to join the galactic community as equals, not as servants or subjects." His expression hardened slightly. "But know this, we will defend ourselves. Any further aggression against Earth or human colonies will be met with increasingly devastating responses. The technology we developed to defeat the Conclave fleet is just the beginning of what we can create when threatened." The message showed images of the defeated Conclave ships, proof that his words were not empty threats. "Consider this humanity's first and last warning," President Howard concluded. "Leave us in peace, or face extinction yourselves." In the command center of the Conclave flagship, the alien leaders watched in silence. Their control over the galaxy, maintained for millennia, had just been shattered by a species they had planned to casually destroy. "The message has been delivered," Samantha said quietly. "What happens next is up to you." The orbital platform Unity hung in space above Earth, its curved shape catching the sunlight as it rotated gently. 5 years had passed since the Battle of Sol, as humans now called their unexpected victory over the Conclave forces. Much had changed in that time, both on Earth and throughout the galaxy. Dr. Ryan Foster straightened his formal jacket as he walked down the gleaming corridor toward the main conference chamber. As head of the new Interstellar Relations Bureau, he had overseen humanity's careful steps onto the galactic stage. Today marked a significant milestone, the first official diplomatic delegation from former Conclave worlds. "They've docked, sir," his assistant informed him through his earpiece. 12 representatives from different species as expected. "Thank you, Natalie," Ryan replied. Are our translators ready? Yes, sir. Though most of them have learned basic English already, they seem eager to communicate. Ryan smiled slightly. That eagerness represented perhaps the most surprising development of the past 5 years. After humanity's message had been broadcast across conclave space, the once unified coalition had fractured. Many civilizations, long uncomfortable with the conclave's methods, had broken away to form new alliances. He entered the conference chamber, a circular room with walls of transparent aluminum offering a breathtaking view of Earth below. The room fell silent as he approached the central platform. The alien delegates stood or rested, depending on their physiology, around the round table. Some were tall and slender like the Vorzine, others short and stocky. One delegate appeared to be composed primarily of a glowing gas contained within a technical suit. All turned their attention to Ryan as he took his position. "Welcome to Unity *," he began, speaking slowly and clearly. "On behalf of Earth and all human settlements, I thank you for accepting our invitation. We never wanted war. Humanity has always dreamed of the stars as a place of discovery and cooperation." A delegate with blue-gray skin and 4 arms rose. According to Ryan's briefing, this was Ambassador Kelzar from a world called Nithria, which had been one of the first to seek contact after the Conclave's defeat. "We come seeking understanding," Kelzar said, his translator rendering his clicks and whistles into smooth English. "For too long, the Conclave enforced a single path for all civilizations. They feared difference. They feared innovation. The aliens' upper eyes blinked in what humans had learned was a gesture of respect. They feared you most of all." Ryan nodded. "Fear leads to poor decisions. We hope to build something better together." Another delegate, a small reptilian being named Sashk, leaned forward. "Some still fear you." Stories spread through the stars of human ingenuity, of how quickly you mastered technologies that took others centuries to develop. "We understand those concerns," Ryan replied. "That's why we've invited you here, to show that humans wish to be partners, not conquerors. Our capacity for innovation doesn't have to be threatening." The discussions continued for hours. The delegates asked careful questions about human culture, about Earth's history of wars and peace, about how humans might react to different scenarios. Ryan answered honestly, neither hiding humanity's flaws nor exaggerating their virtues. As the meeting drew to a close, Kelzar approached Ryan privately. "There is something you should know," the alien said quietly. "The remnants of the old conclave still exist. They watch from the shadows, rebuilding their strength." Ryan wasn't surprised. Intelligence reports had suggested as much. "Are they a threat?" "Not yet," Kelzar replied. "But they fear you even more now. They believe your species will use your victory to begin conquering others, as they would have done. Your restraint confuses them." Ryan looked out at the stars visible beyond Earth's curve. "We have our own history of conquest. We've learned those lessons the hard way." As the delegates prepared to return to their ships, Ryan felt a cautious optimism. The path forward would not be easy. Trust would take time to build. Some species might never accept humans as equals. But standing on the Unity * platform, watching Earth turn below, he knew one thing with certainty: the galaxy would never again mistake humanity's patience for weakness. In the darkness between the stars, a new understanding was spreading. These peculiar beings from Earth were not to be trifled with, but perhaps with caution and respect, they could become valued allies instead of feared enemies. The dark vastness of deep space held many secrets. Beyond the established trade routes and settled systems, in a region few ships ever visited, a massive structure orbited a dying star. This was Haven, the last stronghold of the old conclave leadership, those who had followed after humanity's unexpected victory. Inside the central chamber of Haven, 7 figures gathered around a table. They represented the most powerful remaining factions of the once mighty conclave. Their meeting had been going for hours, tensions rising with each passing moment. The humans continued to expand their influence, said Executor Vex, a tall Vorzine whose skin rippled with angry red patterns. 3 more systems have signed cooperation agreements with them this past cycle. Supreme Thinker Kraz, who had replaced the disgraced Dominant Thinker after the defeat at Sol, tapped long fingers against the table. They moved slowly, methodically, not with military force but with ideas. He spoke the last word as though it tasted bitter. Ideas are more dangerous than weapons, said Matriarch Hulot, her bulbous eyes blinking with concern. The humans offer technology sharing, open trade, cultural exchange. Many younger civilizations find this attractive after centuries under our guidance. The chamber fell silent. On a large display, images showed human ships peacefully docked at alien stations, human diplomats meeting with representatives from worlds that had once been firmly under conclave control. We should strike now, while we still can, Executor Vex insisted. Our new fleet is nearly complete. We could destroy their homeworld before they. Have you learned nothing? Interrupted Archivist Pell, the oldest member present. His species lived for centuries, and his memory stretched back to decisions now seen as mistakes. Direct confrontation with humans is precisely what cost us our position. They excel at warfare when cornered. What do you suggest then, Archivist? Kraz asked. That we simply watch as they dismantle everything we built over 50,000 years. Pell's ancient eyes seemed to look beyond the chamber walls, into the past and possibly the future. I have studied their history extensively since our defeat. Humans have a weakness the Conclave never considered exploiting. The others leaned forward, suddenly interested. They trust, Pell said simply. They extend goodwill first. They believe in cooperation so strongly that they sometimes fail to see deception until too late. Lucy Chen would have disagreed with this assessment. As the chief security officer for Earth's new embassy on the neutral world of Terith, she trusted no one, especially not former Conclave officials. She walked through the embassy's secure corridors, checking system readouts on her tablet. The building had been designed with multiple layers of protection, some visible, many hidden. Lucy had personally overseen the installation of each one. Security scan complete, reported her assistant, Will Evans. All systems normal. Lucy nodded, but continued her inspection. Tomorrow, the embassy would host representatives from 27 different species for a technology-sharing conference. It would be the largest gathering of its kind since Earth had joined the galactic community. Double the scanner sensitivity on the east entrance, she ordered, and have the AI run another prediction model on potential threat scenarios. Will raised an eyebrow. Something bothering you? Lucy paused, trying to put her feeling into words. The old Conclave has been too quiet lately. They lost power, influence, and face. People like that don't just accept defeat and move on. Outside the embassy windows, the alien city sprawled in all directions, its architecture a blend of many different species styles. Humans were newcomers here, still learning the complex web of relationships between civilizations far older than their own. Maybe they've realized we're not the threat they thought we were, Will suggested. Lucy shook her head. Or maybe they're planning something new. Something we won't see coming because we're too busy patting ourselves on the back for winning the first round. As night fell on Terith, lights came on across the city. In her office, Lucy continued working, reviewing security protocols and intelligence reports. She couldn't shake the feeling that humanity's greatest challenge wasn't in the past, but somewhere in the stars ahead, waiting. The galaxy had changed. New alliances formed while old powers schemed in the shadows, and humanity, still learning to walk among the stars, would soon discover that their warning to the galaxy had been heard. But not everyone had listened.